Hey, you guys, how are ya?
Hello, better than ever.
I thought he was going to say better than Ezra.
I could have.
Or better than yesterday. Poor Adam wasn't feeling well yesterday, so better than yesterday works too.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yep.
Still no idea what happened, but I'm feeling great today.
Oh, well, that's good. Then you totally shook it off. You won that round.
Woo!
Woot.
You know what's interesting is when Adam said he didn't feel well, I immediately was like, I got into like big sister mode. I was like, I don't like when he doesn't feel well. This is not good. Like,
Yeah,
and
totally.
it's like when my dog Rosie doesn't feel well. Like all of a sudden I'm like, all is not right with the world when Rosie doesn't, especially because Adam's always happy, like Rosie. So like when Adam wasn't feeling well, I'm like, this is not good at all. So
isn't that nice, Adam? She feels that you're like her dog.
Yeah, I was about to ask. I got it as a compliment, so that's okay.
I adore my Rosie Bear.
There we go.
Has to. So
That's all that matters.
even my
There we
mother cannot understand how much I love my dog. Like she cannot.
Isn't that funny? As a parent, she can't understand that. That's concerning.
And then it's funny is like, because like Elaine and I obviously don't have physical children at this point. And so both my mom and like her mom are like, it's their babies. Like
It's true though.
Yeah.
it is true, but it's like, it's said with like, not just like, but it's like,
Yeah.
yes, we don't have like children, you know what I mean? Like we don't have human children, but we don't also go around going, they're our babies. Like we don't, they're just, we love them to pieces and we'll do whatever we need to for them. So, and they're the girls, like, that's what we call them. Like, where's the girls? Like, that's our
Where the
girls.
girls at?
Where's our girls at? Yeah.
Where my girls at?
Yeah.
I totally understand the way you what you're describing, because we had a thunderstorm here last night in my neck of the woods. Heavy rain, like crazy biblical amounts of rain that sounded like there was being work done outside. It was hitting so hard.
Wow.
The kind that wakes you up, and then thunder and the lightning and the dogs that don't like that. And you think, as the dog parent, I should be enough for them. They should be fine when I cuddle them on the bed. But no, they want none of that. They want to be gone.
Yeah.
Like under a table, beside a bookcase somewhere, like solid and weird. And that's fun when it arrives, at 1 o'clock in the morning and at 3:15, and just before you have to wake up at the ungodly hour of 10 to 4. So super fun. Super.
Sounds like it. You're really selling it.
But that's parenthood.
Yeah.
A pet parenthood.
Yeah.
All right. So do we have any stories about animals? I don't think we do.
J-Lo is an
today.
animal.
J-Lo's a beast, man. We're going to talk about that doc, because oh my gosh, good. Like so good. So we'll talk about Halftime, the doc that you can watch anytime. We're also going to tell you which one of Hollywood's elite is calling it quits and how she's going out with a bang. Kelly's trivia, a 90s rewind. Both of those will take you right back into time. And we'll tell you what Mariah, Pharrell, and Steve have in common. See, one of those three, I have to be specific. Mariah Carey. Just kidding. It was Mariah Carey. And Pharrell, Pharrell. But Steve Miller. Now, I think we should probably just start there, because this big thing that happened that ties all of these names together happened with a big shindig at a time when parties are opening back up and people are, super happy to be celebrating stuff outside of their house, not on Zoom. And it was the Songwriters Hall of Fame and their induction ceremony that was just about a week ago. So Steve Miller, Pharrell Williams, and Mariah Carey, all honored for their immense contributions to our overall musical soundscape. The Eurythmics were also inducted. I thought it was cool that, similar to when you get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or any Hall of Fame, somebody that knows the artist does the induction. And Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad, and Malcolm in the Middle, did the honors for Steve Miller. And Steve Miller's feelings for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and that experience were well known and not super positive. He's happy to be in, but he wasn't super happy about the price tag that came along with having to wanting to bring his bandmates in with him. I think it's something like $10,000 a head, right? But for the Songwriters Hall of Fame, totally different script on that. He describes the recognition as, quote, the highest, most intellectual honor. Kind of cool. Kelly's friend Jimmy Jam was there.
Yes. Love Jimmy.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at
He inducted Mariah Carey, describing her as being in an elite class, that there's nobody that's more savvy than her, that works harder, that knows all the intricacies of writing and is passionate about it. Pretty cool.
I think like that has to be one of the best kudos you can ever get, especially coming from Jimmy Jam. Like I can't even imagine. And I said this on air during my radio show that I'm sure out of all the accolades that Mariah has had over the years, including Grammy Awards, this probably means the most, I would assume.
I would agree with you for her.
Because she takes her songwriting very seriously.
Well, and it's interesting too that she's got such a diva shell about her and always has. And the whole package, the visual of it has always been celebrated and criticized at the same time, which is not uncommon for any artist in the pop realm. But when you scratch, a little beyond the surface, she's writing the music, she's writing the lyrics, she's in control of her career.
Yeah,
Which is
she's
cool.
directed her own music videos. Like she's the bomb. Like
She's
MC.
the bomb.
MC.
Yeah, bro. We'll talk about the J-Lo doc in just a bit. We're also going to talk about, was it a famous crush? I'm not sure how famous the crush was, but the two people that we'll talk about that have both since passed on, their story is discussed in a new book that's out. So we'll talk about the book and the royalty that's involved with this celebrity crush. That's coming up on 90s now. But for right now, I think we should probably tag in to get into some trivia.
Let's do it.
90s. Now, trivia.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. Now that Adam is rested up from his illness yesterday, I'm sure he's ready to go.
Sounds drastic. Your illness was horrible.
He looks perky today. That's my point. He looks
That's all we
perky.
need.
Perky Adam. Here we are. So this falls under the news and politics banner.
Yes.
I actually think I would have totally guessed this one wrong. So we'll see what you guys come up with. Who was president of the United States of America when the Cold War ended?
Adam.
Go, Adam.
Was it Nixon?
No, but
Sharon.
I think that's what I would have said. Go, Adam. Sharon.
George Bush.
No, can't be. Oh, maybe.
Close. George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's the one you meant.
Yeah.
I'll give it to her. Clearly, that's what she meant.
You meant daddy.
I meant Daddy.
Daddy.
Daddy Bush. Puff Daddy Bush. That's his 90s name.
Daddy Bush.
Puff Daddy Bush.
That sounds terrible. The daddy boy.
I know. It all sounds bad. So many wrong.
Maybe this is our
ways
clip
to
of the
go.
week. Say.
Who's your
All
daddy
right.
Bush?
Good job,
I have some
Sharon.
images. Okay.
Oh, bad.
Actually, when he passed away, which was just a few years ago, was it just before the pandemic? I think so, right?
Yeah,
I
he
think so.
lasted a long time.
Yeah. But it's funny because and by funny, I mean it's not funny. Didn't he pass away within like a year of Barbara? Like it was
Yeah,
of his
'cause
wife?
that happens.
92, Adam? George H.W. Bush?
He passed away in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
But it was
That's
like
good.
tail end, right? Was it December or something?
It was November 2018. Yeah, November
Yeah.
30th.
Like how upset his son was, you know what I mean? Like George W. Like
Mhm.
he was, and it was because obviously like George W always looks like super stoic, I guess, but like
Yep.
he was visible, like it's his dad, right? So
Mhm.
and I think he meant he meant clearly so much, the grandpa, to so many, like his granddaughters loved him to pieces. Like it just sounded like he was a cool dude,
Read
And-
my lips. Like there's not much in the way of lips on George H.W.
I read a book several years ago. I think when I was actually on vacation. In that, I think I read it. Remember when I told you guys about that Florida hotel where I was trapped? And like, I couldn't get anywhere?
Yeah.
I think that's where I read this book. It was a book on the life behind the scenes in the White House.
Ooh.
And it was really cool because it talked about like the different families and how they all kind of operated differently.
Mhm.
And it was interesting because when George and Barbara left to go back to Texas, they actually had been so used to the staff taking care of them that they didn't even know how to call for pizza, like to order pizza at their,
That's
because she said
funny
that
and sad.
in the book she was quoted, but you could tell it wasn't like a pretentious thing. It was like cute. It was like she literally didn't know. They'd been in public service so long that they didn't know how to do it.
Right. Wow.
That's the story there. All right. So good job, Sharon. Question number
Thank
dose.
you.
I don't even know how you're going to answer this, but we'll see. How would you achieve frosted tips?
Sharon?
Go, Sharon.
Is that a trick question, or do you want me to get into the details of hair coloring?
It's basically like what it is.
Oh, frosted tips are when you highlight the tips of your spiky hair.
Good job, Sharon. And can I just tell you, so like this is on the salmon colored card. And as we've discussed before on 90s Now, some of these cards have fancy words at the end.
Yes.
Try to be hip. So the actual answer is dyeing the ends of your hair, comma, duh, exclamation mark.
And it looks so good.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I liked Lance Bass looked great with them.
It's very it's timely.
I think he still has them, does he? I feel like he still has them.
It's a lot less work if you just keep on looking the same as you did 30 years ago.
By the way, anytime I say
Trust
Lance
me.
Bass's name, I always have to, like, when I first start to say it, I have to remember it's not bass, it's the other one. Like
Every time I say the name Lance, I think of that character on the Cosby Show. She was friends with one of the kids, Lance.
Oh yeah.
She would say.
Also
The-
sure I remember that. Adam probably doesn't remember that show.
no, he
I've
doesn't have
heard
to.
of it.
He doesn't have to worry about having those memories wrecked. No.
That's oh yeah.
Yeah,
So wrecked. I love that show.
I loved it too.
Just quickly before you move on, Sharon, as we know, it was recently Father's Day. And so
Yes.
I did a bit on the air where I said, vote in for your favorite TV dad.
Ooh, fun.
And so I actually thought Uncle Phil of Fresh Prince would have got more votes from my listeners.
Mhm.
But it was actually, so what happened was is like a flurry of text came in and there was a,
Sounds
there
like a
was even Homer-
storm.
Oh, yeah, there's a storm of text. So like Homer Simpson was mentioned, like
Nice.
Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Like it was
Oh
really
yeah.
cool. But then, so what happened was there was like a three-way tie. So it was Bob Saget's character, like Danny Tanner.
Yes.
So Danny Tanner was one of them.
Mhm.
Then it was the dude from, oh my God, This Is Us. Is it Jack? I didn't watch. Is it Jack Pierce?
Oh, Jack Pearson. You didn't watch This Is Us?
Did not know.
Oh my god.
And then the third was Kevin Costner's character from his new show, Yellowstone. Have you started to watch that yet?
I've seen some of it. Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God, it's amazing.
Great. I'm halfway through season 2. It's amazing.
It's amazing. So
Yeah.
anyways, so he got voted as like number 3. Like, so there was this tie going on. And first of all, I was delighted that like Kevin Costner was getting these votes because like his character is like super like badass, like in this show. But anyway, so then what I did is I had the audience re-vote like
Ooh.
again, because I'm like, okay, we have a 3-way tie. Let's see who the horse is going to be. And it was Jack Pearson.
You know what? That is such
Yeah.
a show worth watching.
This is what you tell me. Didn't you have like a Kleenex boxes near you?
And
Wasn't the only one.
honestly, more times than not, at some point in any episode, you were crying.
I think
And
just
just-
when you told me that, I was like, I don't want to cry every day. So
But it's like, it's not bad tears or sad tears. There's a bit of sadness, but like it taps in. It really did a great job of tapping into your emotions, our emotions
Mhm.
from life's experiences. Everybody has life experiences, and that it really managed to marry the conversation between characters and the soundtrack. The way they plucked songs from different eras, the way they went like from present to the past, they did that a lot. And then after like the second season, they started showing glimpses of the future, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like a total another realm of this show. And it was seamless. You never felt like you were lost.
okay.
Yeah, there was often times where they'd introduce something in the future or the past, you're like, I wonder who that is. And then the way they tied it in was like, whoa. And the last season was such a great tribute to all the other seasons, and right up until the very last episode, which was like, oh god.
It was 6, right? Was it 6?
Yeah.
I can't believe it was 6 seasons. Like, where did the 6 seasons, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like 2 minutes ago.
And it's true. Because I think we have, when we talk about like American Idol and they talk about we've been on it, or even like Survivor, 29 seasons. I have not been
42
watching Survivor.
seasons.
Well, there you go. I haven't been watching it for 42 years, right? But they do these things where so I think that messes with our measure of current time, those shows. But when
Yeah.
you think of 6 seasons, you're like, oh, it's not that long. And then you're like, that's 6 years.
Yep.
That's like regular time. Seasons are in regular measure are a year.
Yep.
Well,
6
some shows do
years.
2 seasons a year. That's what Survivor did.
Well, exactly. That's why they messed up our ability
Yeah.
to do regular math.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, it's incredible that 6 years. I remember when the show started thinking, oh, this is going to be good. It's shocking that it's 6 years, but man, was it great. Great.
Was it Puff Daddy Bush great though? I don't know.
Well, could anything ever be? We talked about the teaser at the start of the show was that we were going to tell you about someone who's calling it quits, leaving the A-list. And it's not often that you hear about an actor stepping out of the spotlight, but after working for around 3 decades, right? Quickly becoming America's sweetheart and staying America's sweetheart. Never was she out of favor. She will always be great. But Sandra Bullock has decided that's it. She's done. Actually, burnt out and tired is what she said, describing her situation as not wanting to be beholden to anyone's schedule other than her own. She's so burnt out, so tired, and so not capable of making healthy, smart decisions. And I know it, which is exactly the right time to step away and, gather your thoughts. But at this stage of the game, in my opinion, she's got other stuff going on. I've heard interviews with her talking about flipping houses and doing like not stuff.
Is your
And she's gonna be she'll be busy is the point, which is really cool. And the whole idea of her going out with a bang is cool because it's a new project that she's working on where she's the producer of something called The Lost City.
With Channing Tatum.
He's hot.
It doesn't really look good. I've seen the previews a bunch of times.
I haven't seen it. Oh, wait a second. Have I seen that preview? She's in it and producing it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it
those
already
are-
brought in because it's already been out since like end of March, I think. I think it came out like the
Right.
day before my birthday or something.
I
And
think I have
so-
seen the trailer also.
And so it was $68 million budget and they've
Mhm.
made 187 million worldwide.
Okay.
Wow. It's enough.
So,
Yeah.
but I feel like she's going on hiatus. So I mean, she'll be back. We just don't know when.
That's true.
I don't want to.
I don't know. I've heard her on the Smart List podcast, which is another show that you can find when you find this one.
Yeah.
But we'll tell you, we can just tell you what they talked about. She interviewed, and along with that one, she's done other interviews. It's just cool to be that present in the world, knowing where your career's at, where you want to be with your life. She's got her family. I think she's good with whatever.
Well,
decision.
after 3 decades of working in that industry, she doesn't have to prove herself to anybody.
Exactly.
But I
she's
just feel like I do think she'll take a break, but I feel like if you're, I mean, I don't know, unless she's really done, but I think if you're like an artist and being in movies is your like canvas, you might want to
Jam.
come back,
Yeah, maybe. Well, she's welcome.
Yeah. Because I can't imagine not seeing another Sandra Bullock movie. I can't
Man.
imagine it.
might happen.
Adam, don't be defeatist.
Well, I'm being
Adam.
realistic.
Adam, stop it.
Ever since he got over this illness.
Yeah,
knows
well,
everything.
he's just seizing the day.
Yeah.
It's the manager coming out of me. That's what's
Yeah.
What about this J-Lo doc?
I'm the only
That's
one
my
who
opening.
hasn't seen it, right? So
Like 2:30,
wow.
and it was awesome.
Wow.
Awesome, yeah. So we watched the J-Lo doc, and I watched Peppa Pig that day also.
How does that happen?
Just because
Who are you babysitting?
dogs who were up early because it rained the night before on that occasion too.
Yeah.
So I was up pretty early. There's no sleeping in when it comes to me.
Okay.
Super. Anywho, so I found Peppa Pig, super cute show. Love it. Might get up early this Saturday too. But the J-Lo doc worked perfectly to contrast that. But man, does she work hard? I think a day in the life, but like those many months in the life of J-Lo was there didn't never seemed to be any rest. Even when they showed footage of her with family, you could tell that there was, stuff there that she's always kind of on. Even if she gets to relax, she still has to sort of be in mode.
I think that seeing, because like obviously I've heard of her mom before, like everybody knows like Lupe, like Lupe Lopez, like we all know it's her. And but I'd never seen video footage of her before. And after watching the not many clips, but just seeing the few clips they did have of Mama Lopez, you now understand why Jennifer is the way she is. There is no question in my mind. She wants to always prove to her mom that she's good enough. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Yep.
Because,
And
go.
I thought one line in particular, and I can't quote it word for word because of a swear word, so I'll say spit instead. But the line, however subtle, when she talked about how, her mother was pretty hardcore, that she beat the spit out of us. And it wasn't like a line that there was no dramatic pause or any like bum, bum, bum. It was what it was.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, man. And that's old school parenting,
Yeah.
But and I wouldn't want to say that it worked because I don't think it did. It seemed that there was some tension along the way, because it seems like her mother is still sort of got some requirements.
Well, what was it? The potato salad wasn't quite right or something that she was.
And you knew that there was going to be something just by, let me taste. Yeah, it needs this. Yeah.
And I feel like Jennifer made sure that clip got in there.
It
illustrates the nitpickiness that probably went on in her life. Like, because, I'm sure she went over that dog with a fine tooth comb before it was allowed to be released.
No doubt.
And so, everything in there was very intentional. And it was something I wanted to mention is I was re-listening to our episode of 90's Now in the car this week. And it was interesting because we had talked about it last week, I hadn't seen it yet. And I talked about clickbait and like all that kind of stuff about how they were making it like she was saying stuff about Shakira. And I'd said like, yeah, I'm sure it's not. Yeah, like it was none of that stuff. Like none of the clickbaity stuff is actually accurate. And so you really need to watch it to see what it is and just and I even said this on the air. I said, if you're a parent or you have a niece or a granddaughter, I'm like, you need to watch this with your niece or your daughter or your granddaughter, because this shows you what you can become with determination and like a work ethic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, any kid, any female should watch this to see like you cannot be held back. And I just have so much respect for Jennifer. And I now understand a little bit more how she ticks because of Mama Lopez. Because I've always wondered, because she's insane, right? Like, meaning with her work ethic, she's just always like, because even after she had the twins, what did she do? Run a marathon. She trained for a marathon.
Yeah.
So it's like she always has to have a goal and a something. And it's not just like, oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. It's like, I'm going to run a marathon, or I'm going to be the Super Bowl halftime show entertainment. Like, she has like lofty goals, and then she goes and gets them.
Yeah.
And that now you see that comes from her trying to prove to her mama that she's good enough.
I got this. And is it good enough, or maybe even better?
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, I don't think her mom has ever told her that's amazing. I feel like she's never got that.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, in a way, like it's worked for J-Lo because she's phenomenal. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And anything she like, even like you said, Sharon, like with the dance steps, like how like in it she is. And she, even like down to like making sure that like all the aesthetics and the design and like her costume, like everything she has a hand in.
Yeah.
Not like similar to a Madonna or a Janet or whatever. But like her, but you can just see, like, when you see the mom, it was like a big aha. I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like, I get it now, because those clips that were in about the mom, just because I didn't even say in the doc, like that she said like Jennifer didn't sing well, or it was something like that. Remember, it was like,
you're the this, and you're that.
yeah,
Like each kid had something that they did, and and she ended up being all three of those things and more.
Exactly. So that's all of this is like proving mama wrong. Her whole career is to prove mama wrong.
But when you think of it too, like if the whole beating the spit out of them, that component, you would want to prove that sort of an authoritarian figure wrong eventually.
Yeah.
If not spend your whole life trying. But it's worked for her, so good for her.
And last thing before you move on, Sharon, I did want to say, because I mentioned this to Elaine, how crafty they were in editing out anything to do with Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, he was there for a second. I like also that Ben Affleck was also there for a second, but what he had to say was poignant.
Because when they were filming a lot of this, she was still with Alex, right? So I'm assuming that a lot of the footage had Alex in it. So they clearly took that all out, and I was wondering how they were going to do it, and yeah, which they did. They basically erased his presence. Poor A-Rod.
Poor, he's such a poor you, Rod. We talked about a celebrity crush before. Speaking of Jennifer Lopez and relationships, the harm of a little crush, they're cute, right? Little crush, but it could totally affect your friendship. Like if one of the people in the crush scenario doesn't feel the same way. And that's why George Michael kept Princess Diana close, but not too close. Man, he wasn't out as a gay man at that time. So he didn't want to make her life any more complicated than what it was. And it was. But they had established a friendship, which was really cool. And there's all kinds of details. And I wouldn't even say juicy details, because it seems like there's new light being shone on a situation that's many years old now in a new book called George Michael, A Life. And it details their friendship over the years and how much they had in common, from how strongly the spotlight was on them in their own lives, how they both got famous at 19 years old, either got famous or the fame found them. But it's, in my estimation, is in December. Her birthday's coming up on Canada Day, which is cool. I think in our country, royal fans love the idea that Diana was born on Canada Day, and she would have been 61. George Michael's birthday is around now too, which is cool. Wow, crazy, eh? And they're both gone. Dark cloud.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll be a book that you'll read? Do you guys think you'll read that book?
I will, for sure. I'm obsessed with George Michael, as we know. So I'm so sad that I never got to interview him. Can I just say, not that I have any insight that I would have ever got him in my life, but like, I'm sad to know it's not an option.
It's off the table now.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially because like knowing like how much he didn't really like being interviewed in the media, and like there's part of me like I wanted to prove it wrong. I wanted to prove like he could have a good conversation with someone about his career and it just be okay and not like salacious or whatever. So
it's interesting that a lot of the clips from the book that we read in the article kind of give the whole book away, but at the same time. Family, at the start of it with his family, and he didn't necessarily process his mother's death, probably, well, because he talked about being in the book, they refer to him talking about being at Diana's funeral and having that sort of tap into the memory of his mother's passing and how it really took him out, kind of thing. And then the spiral effect of remembering things and things you didn't do or things you would do differently. I think he had that sort of complexity to him, that there were regrets, and it's hard to deal with regret, at wherever you are in the world, whoever you are. Mm-hmm. But he struggled, I think.
I agree. Again, I love him so much, Georgie.
Dark cloud.
It happens.
It does happen. And we try to grow from it.
And the farther away we get from the 90s, the more it will happen.
Yeah.
Dark cloud.
Dark. Your turn, Kelly. Got any dark clouds you want to bring in?
No, I'm good now.
You guys want to get into a 90s rewind? Or
Let's
what?
do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Get away from that dark cloud.
It's sunny over here.
Shiny, yeah.
We are going back to 1992. You know why? Because 1992 started with an album called Finally. And by this time in 1992, the 22-year-old that released that album was on top of the world. And heading into summertime that year, we got into CeCe Peniston's third single from Finally called Keep On Walking.
I
Mhm.
love that song. Did you watch the video for that song, Sharon?
I haven't in a while, but that song popped on my my playlist the other day, a little rando collection. I'm like, woo, yes to that.
Such a great track. And the video too, I remember because she had this guy in the video who was doing all these like flips and stuff. And I remember at the time I was 15 and I thought I could try that.
Oh my God, did you?
I did, and it ended badly. So like not ended like Kelly had to go to the hospital badly.
You just
But
try to flip? Like, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, because like he did this cool thing because obviously he was one of those like break dancer guys, right? Where they do all the crazy.
Yeah.
And this one move looked manageable. Like it looked like
That's
it looked like I could pull it off. So it was like he kicked his leg forward and then he let the momentum swing him back and do like a somersault.
yes.
It was like kick forward. So you now have to go watch the video. Everybody has to watch video. And and I think he actually landed on the ground. So it was like flip and land on the ground. I was like, okay, like I'll try that. And like, but Kelly's not flexible. So I did it,
wow.
but like landed really hard. And so I was like, we're done.
Oh my gosh.
Kelly, not a breaker. Except I break my own bones is what happens.
Well, sometimes you have to learn by doing, right?
Yeah. But it just like you have to watch it when you'll see, because like I think he does it once or twice in the video. Like it looks so cool. I'm like, I could do that.
You know, of the three of us, Adam is the youngest. He should be the one to try.
Yeah.
I will not. No. Mm-mm.
He doesn't even need a minute to think about that.
But
Nope.
Adam, will you please watch the video and we'll ask you next week just what you think about the dance move.
Okay.
Keep
Okay.
on walking. And then Kelly couldn't after that.
I could not.
You know what? Long before Vanessa Williams was a proper B word, which is the character that she really honed in on. She was on Desperate Housewives, right?
I think so.
Well, she was proving herself as a fantastic singer. And in 1992, she gave us Save the Best for Last, because sometimes the snow comes down in June. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, Vanessa.
That's a lyric, Autumn.
It's a lyric from a beautiful song. But no, it's not going to snow this June. And you know what? We talked about George Michael. He was just funky enough.
Yeah.
However, his contribution to an album called Red Hot and Dance, a project aimed at raising funds and awareness for HIV/AIDS, Too Funky was a huge hit in the summer of 1992. Man, oh man. I was at the clubs, I know. Price Club. Meanwhile, Guns N' Roses were making videos on a grand scale by this point, and as big as it was hard to figure out what the heck they were going on about in the video for November Rain. But you know what? We had just under 9 minutes to try to crack the code. Didn't work. It was epic Guns N' Roses and a classic on Use Your Illusion 1 that was released about 6 months earlier. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 came out at the same time, but that's where we would get November Rain. And when everything old is new again, once SNL characters Wayne and Garth made their big screen debut and the pivotal scene in the car where Queen's We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions comes on, the world was reintroduced to a classic rock staple that ended up getting new life out of it. Freddie Mercury had passed away actually a few months before the movie came out, but he did see the scene, gave it a stamp of approval, and let them go ahead with using the song in the movie. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that's your 90s Rewind.
Thanks,
you.
Rona.
Thank you. What else? Got anything else?
Just a quick listener mailbag. Just a big shout out to our regulars who send us comments every week now on the YouTube channel. So thank you so much to Carolyn and to Rachel and Shane. And although I have to say, we have not seen Ginger Bear in a few weeks, so I hope all is well with Ginger Bear.
Breaker, Ginger Bear.
Yeah. Adam needs to stay hot.
Ginger Bear over. Adam will always be hot. He was feverish yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
But hot and good today.
Hot in a different way today.
That's it. Yeah.
You have way to work it, Adam.
Thank you.
And thank you guys. Always fun hanging out with you guys. And for everybody checking us out, we appreciate that wherever you find us. Thanks. And thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.